let's do this thing again. Here I am, you guys, with part 2 of this breast reduction journey. Story time, all of that. I did film this video like 2 days ago, only to realize once I was about to start editing the content, it was freaking fuzzy wuzzy. Like the focus was behind me and not on my face at all, so I was completely blurry the entire time. So I was like, oh my goodness. I was going to shortcut it and be like, it's done, whatever, I'ma still upload it, but I was like, let me not do this. Let me just take the time to re-film and then, you know, do this the right way. Here we go. First, I'm gonna begin this video off with answering questions from the part 1 video and any questions that I received after that video was public. All right, so a few questions that I received. Would you say you felt back normal by week 3? I would say I did not. Normal, you know, your body is completely cut into and then sewn back together. So I don't know if normal is a word that I would use. I still felt very different. It felt like a new body, if you will. I was still and still am very careful. Now I am closer to the 6-week mark. Today is Thursday and I will be 6 weeks on Monday. Like the little tiniest things that you don't realize can make you feel like maybe I don't need to do that again. Even laying down in the bed, it is still very hard and a challenge for me to get comfortable. I am completely flat now for the most part. I use a lot of my pillows under my underarm area. I'm sleeping more on my side, more so my right side than my left side, just the way it feels a little bit more comfortable, but I do try to even it out. But week 3, no, you're still getting used to your incisions, touching your incisions, massaging them, all of that. So no, I would not say normal. Do I feel more comfortable? Absolutely. Do they think that it is better to wait to get a breast reduction surgery after children, or do you think that she should, you know, get it right now? Honestly, that is going to be a personal preference because that is something that I battled with during my entire 20s. I was very vocal to the women in my family about wanting a breast reduction in my early 20s, like 19, 20 years old, and all of them kept telling me to wait until I had one child. I'm about to turn 30 this year, and this was my 30th present to myself, 30th gift to myself, because I don't have any children. I don't plan on having any children within the next few years, and I was just tired of waiting. So I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm living right now and I want this to be done. So I decided to go ahead with the surgery, and I'm so happy that I did. Everybody that, you know, has shared their experience, everybody that I've done research on and watched other people's experience with having this surgery done, they are just completely happy with their experience and just happy with the fact that they went through with the procedure and had it done. And I feel the same way. No more waiting. If it's something that you want, you guys, you have to go out there and make the decision for yourself. Yes, it's cool to, you know, take loved ones' opinions into consideration, but don't make it be the ultimatum of whether you do something for yourself or not. Another question was, what were the distinguishing characteristics or, you know, major factors that helped me decide to go through with this surgery with the actual surgeon that I went to? Another question was also, who was my doctor? That is like a really popular question. I went to Avana Plastic Surgery in Miami, Florida, and I chose to have Dr. Scott Meridian, so shout out to him. I will post his information down below in the description, probably will be in the pinned comment. And he is an extremely accomplished doctor, surgeon, and I was really blown away by his work. Like I said before in my first video, there's so many surgeons down here that are doing the body work, and he is too, but I was looking for a surgeon that was, you know, had that special touch with breast, because I was so like, oh my goodness, I've waited this long. I really want to make sure I, you know, go with the right person. And sometimes you don't know that until you meet them in person. And I didn't meet my surgeon until the morning of my procedure. So that's kind of how it goes. They're extremely busy. It's not like how, well, not in South Florida, I don't think, as far as you going in for a consultation. Yes, you can go in for a consultation, but it's much more done like over email and stuff like that. You contacting the coordinator and so forth, sending videos, sending pictures, doing whatever you need to do. If you are local, I'm pretty sure they can accommodate to you to meet the person, the surgeon in person. But I didn't meet him till the morning of. He was extremely patient. He was extremely down to earth. He wasn't somebody where you felt like, with doctors sometimes you kind of feel like, oh, I'm the peon and they're like the expert. It did not feel like that at all. Even with the staff that was there, everybody was very down to earth. Yes, it is a fast-paced environment, but I didn't feel rushed at any part or any time in this whole process. So I was really appreciative of that. There were a few hiccups that I will get to later, but this had nothing to do with the doctor. So yes, that's who I went with. When I did meet him, like I said, he was extremely down to earth, helpful with any questions that I had about it. But I really did not have too many questions because I've been waiting like 10 years to have this done. So any research, any questions that I may have had, like I've figured out the answer on my own. Everyone's asking for a before and after. I will try to find some photos where you couldn't see, like that definite size difference, and I will post it during this video. So I will try my best. Someone asked, how were you able to shower the next day after surgery? Did you need assistance? Were you scared to shower? Yes, I was nervous to shower. I'm the type of person that thinks about every hypothetical weird situation, horrible nightmare situation that can happen. I have watched way too many Final Destinations, way too many Butterfly Effect movies, way too many just what if, 1,000 ways to die, 1,000 ways for something to go wrong. And yes, I was nervous. Did anything go wrong? No. I was very, very careful. My parents were here. My mother, one of the days, she did help me dry my back off, all that type of stuff. I just took it very slow, like 99 years old slow. And even like the way I would turn, I would make it to like I was like a robot. I never like turned too quick or like stepped too fast. I made sure that I held on to countertop every part of the way of getting in and out of the shower, doing everything, going down the steps, like literally every single thing. I took my time. I think the biggest thing that I was scared about in the shower was, I think about incisions the way I think about like a normal paper cut or a scratch on the body. The moment it hits water, it stings. That was not the case with the incisions. Even though I had the surgical tape on, I was still like, oh my gosh, like once the water hits this, is this going to burn in any way? It did not whatsoever. Even when soap was running down, the surgical tape is very, very strong. Even once it was time to remove the surgical tape, I still did not feel any like tingling or burning or like no activity whatsoever. So I was really, really pleased with that. Other than that, that's pretty much it. My surgeon, as any doctor will, they give you a set of instructions on how to do each process, like every single thing. Getting in the shower, that first initial shower, which is like that 24-hour period after after you have your surgery, he instructed me to not let the water hit my breast on that initial shower, like not when I first get in. So when I got in, I pretty much like I stepped in regularly, turned the water on, and then turned my back. And so the water was much more like hitting my back and coming over towards the front versus me standing towards the shower head and hitting it on like this way. He advised against that, and I listened to directions, okay? So that was how that went. All right, and those were all the questions, I believe. I really hope I didn't miss anything. I'm trying to make sure I get through this video as quickly as possible so it's not really drug out and long. So now what I would like to share was my hiccups during this journey, and this was not on any person. This was just my steps and what happened during this time of me getting prepared to have surgery. So as I expressed and shared in the first video, before you can have any type of procedure done, you have to get labs done. This, you know, EKG, blood work, urinalysis, making sure that you're not on any drugs, making sure that your, you know, red blood cells and white blood cells are like at the right count, so you don't have any blood clots and you don't actually bleed out either. Making sure that you are healthy and you can get through this surgery and wake up on this surgery and still be alive and healthy and well and heal from it. So I had an x-ray done. Being that this is a breast surgery, you have to get an ultrasound or a mammogram, depending on your surgeon, depending on what they want, and depending on your age. So during the time where I got my ultrasound, there was something found in my left breast, and actually it was actually called a fibroadenoma. So these are usually benign. This is just like a growth that kind of comes sometimes, like when women have dense breast tissue. These can be common, other things can be common, so you just have to be very careful. Once this was found, like there's like a whole different set of steps and, you know, procedure that you have to continue with before you can like get to the actual breast reduction surgery. So now I had like this detour. My original date was in February. I forgot what the date was now, but it had to end up being pushed like a month out because of this whole process. So I had to end up getting and going to a whole different medical facility to get a biopsy done. Once that was done, I had to wait for the results to come in, which took like maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Once there's like any type of a lot amount of time that you have to wait for more results to come in, that previous labs that you had done, which probably were like 30 days ago, labs are only good for 30 days. So this means I had to get a whole nother set of labs done, which was extremely, like, you know, it's costly. So you have to financially prepare yourself for the what if situations. Even if you do have medical insurance, you have to figure out what is covered by medical insurance, what isn't. Throughout this whole process, I got my first mammogram, and I think I had got maybe like 2 done. I was pleasantly surprised that mammograms do not hurt as much as people made me so frightened that they were going to hurt, because people were like, no, these things hurt, prepare yourself for the worst experience. And I was just like, no, I do not need this. My mammogram specialist, I don't know the title of that job, but my mammogram specialist was an absolute angel. She truly loved her work, and I'm so pleased to have had her. Both of the women, they were so pleasant and so patient and like gentle. So thank you to them, shout out to them, as well as my ultrasound tech that found the fibroadenoma. She was the very first person who found it, and all 3 of them were Black women. So shout out to them. I love y'all so much. So I got this done, had to reschedule my procedure, had to get, you know, the labs done again, and I was finally on my way to get this surgery. So this was like a very long process. I had found Dr. Meridian on Instagram, I think during September of 2022. I had finally put my deposit down in November, and I finally, let's fast forward to March 13th. That was when I had my procedure. That was my journey. That was my story. There was many things that financially can, you know, occur. There's so many different doctor's appointments that I had to set up and make sure that were in place, that didn't conflict against my work schedule, because at the time I still was instructing. It was really a process, you guys, and that was what I went through. All my girlfriends that have had work done, nobody has had quite the experience like I've had. And I was like, oh my goodness, this will happen to me. It's okay, I got through it, thank you goodness. This makes me even more attentive to my healthcare needs. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you stay up on your health. This is something that I wanted to advocate during this video, is to make sure you stay up on Your annual exams. Ladies and gentlemen, go get those exams. Do not be afraid to go to the doctor, and do not be afraid to get a second opinion. It can feel like it's such a long process during it, but it is something that we need to be more attentive to, especially in the Black community. Y'all need to stay up on your family members as well, younger and older. Make sure they are going to their appointments. Make sure they are going to the dentist. Oral health is something that is extremely important as well. And I just wanted to share that. I do want to share my like day to day and week to week, month to month, whatever. So the day of surgery, you know, like 10 to 12 hours before surgery, you are not allowed to eat or drink anything, just to make sure that you know, nothing happens with the anesthesia. One thing that I do remember that it was like a really weird experience for about 3 weeks post-op was the fact that like during the surgery, you're intubated. When I woke up, like the right side, the tip of my tongue was like kind of numb, and it was numb for about 3 weeks. I had asked if that was normal, and they said it was. I did my own research, and I even saw how other people had experienced it too, and it eventually went away. And that had went away like around the 3.5, 4 week mark, because I was like, oh my gosh, it was the weirdest thing for like the first week and a half. And then around 3.5 to 4 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, it's gone. I just noticed it one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can feel like my whole tongue again. So that was different. Day of surgery, getting out of surgery, I was not in any pain. I know a lot of people are like, how was the pain? How was the pain? Because that's what, you know, can scare a lot of people, is being in extreme discomfort. And I really wasn't, you guys. The one thing that I do remember, another thing that I remember, was the fact that my skin was so tight, because obviously like I needed these things to be perky up and smaller. So obviously skin is stretching. Your skin is stretched and is pulled so tight. So I would suggest, if you get a breast reduction, please moisturize. And I'm talking moisturize like crazy. And even if you have like a little bit of a gentle scrub, you're going to need to exfoliate like your life depends on it. Not where the incisions are just yet, not where your, you know, your areola is at, your nipple, but more so like this décolleté area. My skin peeled like crazy. And I was like, I have so much dead skin. It made me feel like I wasn't cleaning good enough. But it was just simply the fact that the skin was being pulled so tight. It was very weird because it was on my legs as well. It was on my arms. And I just feel like it was because I wasn't able to clean as thoroughly as I normally would. Because I was being so careful with myself. I was like, oh, I'm a little baby, so let me cleanse like softly and stuff like that. It was the weirdest thing. It was like that for, I would say 2.5 to 3 weeks. My skin was just like, layers of skin were just shedding off me. It was so disgusting, but I got through it. And I'm just like, now I get out of the shower and I'm like, it was like it never happened. It's so weird, but I do recommend that you stay as moisturized as possible. You don't want to experience like super dry skin, super itchy skin. That's how scars, stretch marks, and all these things that we don't want to happen occur. So you go back the day after surgery. They make sure that the tape is good. There's no weird coloring where the incisions are at, to make sure there's no signs of infection. Then you go back about 5 days after they remove the surgical tape, make sure everything is good, and then you're good to go. They removed all the tape, but there were some areas that were still not closed completely, so they put some more clean tape up there, and they told me to remove it in about 5 days. Once that tape was off, y'all, I was like using the triple antibiotic ointment like my life depended on it. And I was using like basically like gauze to protect my incisions and keep like a barrier in between my breast and my sports bras. And I was doing that for like a solid 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, close to 3 weeks. Now I'm not doing that at all. I'll put a very thin layer on. Oh y'all, Oreo was coming up these stairs and scared me. I'll put a very thin layer on, maybe like around like certain areas that I feel like maybe need like a deeper moisturizing attention. But for the most part, I'm using some products and I'll just pop those on the screen here and there. Everything that I have been using, that I've used, I'll list it down below for those that may be inquiring or just need something to help with existing scars. This cream that I'm using like every day is insane. I feel like it works so good. It doesn't have like that greasy, slippery feel like you would want, or I would want a moisturizer to have, but it's fine. I'm also using lots of vitamin C serums that are formulated really well to help with scarring, to help with brightening tissue. And most importantly, you guys, I am using SPF on my incisions all over, just like I use it on the rest of my face, my body, everywhere, my hands, because even though my breasts don't have direct sunlight, UV rays still penetrate through glass and penetrate through clothes. So you don't want to assume like, oh, I'm covered up, I'm completely covered, I have layers of clothes on, that these can't still affect your incisions, because they can. So I suggest that you wear a good SPF, at least a broad spectrum SPF of 30 and to 50. I am back in the gym. I will start light weights on Monday and I'm super excited about that. I have been doing cardio, just mostly good inclines, Stairmaster, elliptical without the arms. I've been doing some leg workouts and all these other things, but I am ready to pump it up a little bit, do a little bit more core. I'm able to start doing a little bit more strength conditioning 6 to 8 weeks. So I'll just gradually work my way up to a little bit more heavier weight week by week. I'm gonna start out just doing like maybe some 5-pound dumbbells and keep it there for a week, and then increase it as the time goes on. And I want to thank everyone for watching this far. If you have, please comment pound dope and pound healthy skin club. Once again, shout out to Dr. Meridian. Thank you so much for your patience with me. Thank you so much for creating these new boobies, new and improved. I love them and they have healed and are healing so beautifully. So shout out to you. And that's it, you guys. This is going to be my last video on this topic, but I will be creating more daily vlogs, lifestyle and all that stuff. And it's going to be realistic. It's not going to be me shopping and vacationing my life away, because baby, we got bills. Tax day was 2 days ago and it's real out here, okay? So yeah, that's about it, and I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much. Bye y'all.